Bore da pawb, guten Morgen everyone, and welcome back to this, our third session of German here with us at e-sgol and the Goethe Institute. Very glad to see so many of you have returned for our third session today, and I'm very pleased as well to say that we're joined once again by Frau Devons. Is Frau Devons here and available? Here she is. Hello, Frau Devons. Guten Morgen. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Wunderbar, in fact.
Wunderbar. That's excellent.
Wunderbar.
Good to hear. And I believe Frau Whittle is here with us as well. Oh, and on mute, Frau Whittle, I'm afraid.
Okay. Hallo, guten Morgen. Mir geht es sehr gut. Danke.
Guten Morgen. Very good to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. And we've also got some other faces to show you again this morning from last week's homework or last week's challenges, if you like. Thank you very much to Siwan, who's now sharing her screen ready for our third session today. And we're going to kick things off with some of the best examples of the new vocabulary that was learned last week. So if we can see that first screen, please, Siwan. Thank you very much. And we're going to start with Ella and Sienna, and I might come to Frau Devons and Frau Whittle to see what they think of each entry. So off we go with Ella and Sienna.
Hallo, ich bin Ella. Ich bin Sienna. Why gates? Es gates Maya. Wunderbar. Bis bald. Bis bald.
Da iawn, Ella a Sienna, thank you very much. What do we think, Frau Devons?
I think they've done a wonderful job at remembering the words. We're going to work on pronunciation today and some of those sounds, so they'll be even better when they try that again next week. Because there's a few sounds in there that are very different from English or Welsh sounds, and we need to just work on those today. But otherwise, it's really impressive.
And 10 out of 10 for enthusiasm, I think, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you, Ella and Sienna. And now, I think we have we have Ruby, Tegan, and Anna, and they've been quite creative with their video, I think.
Hallo, ich bin Ruby. Ich bin Tegan. Wie geht's? Wunderbar. Das ist Anna. Hallo, ich bin Anna. Wie geht's? Es geht.
That's quite the exit. What did you think, Frau Whittle?
I like that when they put a bit of drama into it. I thought that worked really well. And talking about pronunciation, Frau Devons, I think you'd agree there was some really lovely pronunciation there as well. So well done, Ruby, Tegan and Anna. I really enjoyed that.
And there was an interesting way of answering one of the greetings, I think, wasn't there, Frau Devons?
Yeah, I think they had S-gate in there, didn't they? So that's one we're going to be looking at today.
Excellent. So yeah, Ruby, Tegan and Anna, you're ahead of the curve. Well done, you. So we're going to move on now to Finley and Brooke, which is also an excellent example.
Hallo. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Ich bin Brooke. Ich bin Finley. Wie geht's? Es geht mir gut. Wie geht's? Es geht mir wunderbar.
Very good. Thank you, Finley and Brooke. Anything to say, Frau Devons?
So again, really enthusiastic, and they've really learnt their words. We're going to work on that W. That's definitely one we're going to work on today. But otherwise, brilliant, really impressive.
Diane, thank you very much to everyone who entered an example into the Flipgrid again this week. Really good. Thank you very much. But now we're going to move on to the Kahoot results, and we've got some excellent scores this week from last week's Kahoot quiz. And some standout efforts came in from Oldham and Davis School. Dyfrig class, I think you played as a whole class possibly to top the leaderboard, so congratulations to you. And some other standout names were Isla and Alfie and Beth. Isla, Alfie and Beth had numerous entries in the top 20, I believe, so a really good effort from the three of them. And also, Oldham and Davis is more to the south of Wales, and up in North Wales, Ysgol Nantygroes, we had Maisie, who had an excellent score, and Miss H. I think the teachers have been getting involved as well, so congratulations to Miss H. Or maybe you played as a class, I'm not sure. On da iawn chi, very good, Ysgol Nantygroes and Oldham and Davis School. And then we also had one more example of the Hallo Felix, Hallo Francis song from Ysgol Carwe. And we've got Georgie, Llyr, Harry and Chloe. And they may greet Felix and Francie for us for this week. So off we go, please.
Hallo Felix, Francie, choose diwrnod a bryd ystafell fawr.
Excellent. What better way to kick off the session, Frau Devons?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Felix and Francie heard that and they appeared there. I don't know if anyone spotted them. They appeared and danced along to that. It was brilliant. Beautifully done.
Brilliant. Right then. So I'll hand over to you, Frau Devons. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hugh. Welcome back. So we've looked at some of the things you've been practicing last week. That's fantastic. We're going to look at how to say words today. So we won't be learning very many new words, but we're going to really focus in on some of those phonemes and the pronunciation today. Then we're going to get you up and moving around again, although just on the spot this time, not around the classroom. And then we'll do the Kahoot as usual and see how well you can do and see if you can beat me. I'm encouraging Frau Whittle to try and beat me this time. Okay, next slide, please. So we learned our greetings of how to say how we were feeling last week. We learned wie geht's, how's it going? We learned es geht mir, and then you could say es geht mir schlecht, es geht mir nicht gut, es geht mir gut, and es geht mir wunderbar. We learned schau when we wanted to point something out. We learned ich habe. Felix had Heimweh, didn't he? He was feeling homesick, so he had homesickness. Ich habe Heimweh was what he said last week. We learned about the word for Germany, which is Deutschland. I'm sure you've all been learning that in the last few weeks when you've been watching the football and listening to the Germans talking about their country. Deutschland. Ja is obviously a really useful word. Was ist das? What is that? And a Postkarte. Felix and Francie got a Postkarte last week, didn't they? So I know you've been practicing those on your Kahoot and doing really well. So we're going to add to some of those today. Okay, next slide, please. So we're revising words to German and looking at how to pronounce them today. Thank you. Right, Felix and Francie went away again because you sang them. You sang tschüss as well, so they went away. So we've got to sing to them again. I'm afraid. Off you go, Sean. Not working. Oh, it's not coming up, is it? Oh, well, I'll sing to them and I assume that everyone will join along in class anyway. So let's just sing. Hallo, Felix. Hallo, Francie. Hallo, guten Morgen. Hallo, guten Tag. We'll just sing it at once. I think that'll do. Okay, let's move on. Guten Morgen, Francie. Guten Morgen, Frau Devons. Guten Morgen, Felix. Guten Morgen, Frau Devons. Guten Morgen, Kinder. Everyone saying hello? Guten Morgen, Frau Whittle.
Guten Morgen, Felix, und guten Morgen, Francie.
Guten Morgen, Herr Davies.
Guten Morgen, Felix and Francie.
Wunderbar. Right, some new words today. Wie geht's? Naja, es geht mir sehr gut heute. Danke. Wie geht's, Felix? Felix, nicht so gut, danke. Oh, der. Wie geht's? Naja, es geht. Es geht. So we've got 3 new ways of answering wie geht's, answering how you're feeling today. And we need to know these because they're going to be in the dance that we're playing along with later. So you need to know what they mean. So nicht so gut, that's obviously an extension of nicht gut. Nicht so gut, not so good. So you can put that in, I suppose, between gut and nicht gut. Not so good, not brilliant, but not awful. Sehr gut is very good. Very good. Sorry, I can't speak English and German at the same time. Sehr gut is very good. So that's kind of just before you get to wunderbar. And you can use those in the same way as the ones we've learned previously. Es geht mir nicht so gut. Es geht mir sehr gut. Es geht mir schlecht. Es geht mir nicht gut. Es geht mir gut. Es geht mir wunderbar. You can use that sentence starter with any of those words. And then you've got es geht, because sometimes you're just a bit meh. You know, you're not brilliant, you're not awful, you're somewhere in between, you know, a bit so-so, it's okay. And you can just say es geht. But obviously with es geht in that phrase, you don't want gate twice in one sentence. So if somebody says to you wie geht's and you're feeling, yeah, I'm okay, you can just say es geht. You don't need to say es geht mir, es geht, because that's just going to sound really weird. So just go es geht if you just want to say I'm okay. And then you can stick, just to be a little bit extra polite, you can stick thank you on the end. So how are you doing? I'm doing great, thank you. Es geht mir gut, danke. Es geht mir sehr gut, danke. Es geht mir nicht so gut, danke. So just stick that thank you, that thanks, on the end of the sentence. Danke, danke. So let's just practice those phrases. If I do those 4, see if you can just say them after me. Nicht so gut.
Nicht so gut.
Well done. Sehr gut.
Sehr gut.
Wunderbar. Es geht.
Es geht.
Super. Danke.
Danke.
Wunderbar. And then the last 2 I've put in there because you might want to be saying hello or goodbye to people at different times of day. So we learned Guten Morgen for good morning, and we've learned Guten Tag, which technically means good day, but you can use it afternoon. But you might meet somebody in the evening. Obviously, unlikely to be doing that at school, but you might want to practice it at home and say Guten Abend, which means good evening. Guten Abend. Can you all try that? Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Wunderbar. Notice that D on the end sounds like a T again. And then if you're going, this one is a tricky one because people always think, oh yeah, we need to say good night, but good night isn't a greeting. Good night's a goodbye word. You only say good night when you're going off to bed. So you wouldn't say that to say hello to somebody. You'd use it to say goodbye, usually to your grown-ups at home when you're going to bed. So you say gute Nacht. Gute Nacht. Note it's gute, not guten. Gute Nacht. Gute Nacht. Everybody try that? Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
Brilliant. It's tricky sometimes getting the ch and the t on the end, but I'm sure you Welsh speakers can manage that one easily. So those are our new words this week that you'll come across later. Next slide, please. So I'm going to, Felix and Francie are going to sit this out for a bit because I need both my hands to be free so you can see what I'm doing with my hands. So looking at some of those sounds we've been learning, obviously when you learn a new language you have to learn new sounds, and obviously those of you that have learned English and Welsh will already be well aware of how different languages have some very unique sounds for each language. Some sounds go across languages and some languages have sounds all for themselves. So we're just going to look at some of the sounds that we've met so far and just make sure we know when we see them, those are how they should sound. So for example, the W. There is never, ever, ever a W in German, ever. Even when they try and say the word, well, all right, when they try and say the word Wales, they might say Wales or Vales, but on the whole, there is no W sound in German. It's always a V, a bit like a V in English, a V sound. And the way I use this, way I talk about this with my children in my classroom is we try and make, I'm not sure, yes, it will work, try and make a V with our arms and our head. So you can see if you put your arms up either side of your head, you've got a V shape coming down with your arms like that and your head. So you can remind yourself, this is what the V sounds like. And then, I don't know if anybody's ever heard a swan taking off, but their wings are so heavy and strong, they make an amazing sound and they kind of go vroom, 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 as they take off. And that's what the W sounds like in German. So you go wunderbar, wie geht's, was ist das? So I'd like everybody to put their arms up like this, make that W. And in your classrooms, I hope you're all ready. And everybody we'll say the V sound 3 times and move your arms. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll say the words wunderbar. Everybody, wunderbar. And wie geht's? Wie geht's? Was ist das? Was ist das? You can put your arms down now because my shoulders are hurting. So hopefully when you're using those words, you remember that V at the beginning is not a word. It's never a word. It's always a V. Wunderbar, wie geht's, was ist das? So that's the first really important sound. And this just makes you sound more German if you can say these correctly. It means you can read. The wonderful thing about German is that once you've learnt these sounds, they stay the same. Unlike English, which is a really tricky language to learn to read. I don't envy the Germans having to learn to read English. English and Welsh speakers learning German is much easier because you can just learn the sounds and then you say them and they don't change. So then we've got the AU sound. And I'd like you to imagine that you've bumped your hand and you're shaking it out and going, ow, 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 ow. Everybody have a go at doing that one. Ow, ow, ow. And that will remind us that when we have the word shall, you've got that ow sound. Auf Wiedersehen. And we've got the W there. So you could even go Auf Wiedersehen if you want to get really moving. And Frau Devons and Frau Whittle. We should be really in our German lesson, we should be saying Frau Whittle really. So everybody have a go at the words now. So we've got shall, shall. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. Frau. Frau. Well done. Teachers, if you're feeling really clever when you're practicing these with the children, you can just do the sign and see if the children can remember what sound goes with that. And it just helps you remember. If you're hearing people, you can all do this. If you hear somebody say W instead of V in German, just do the sign and see if that reminds them to change it. Now we've got the Z sound, which we have in Francie. You'll have already noticed it doesn't sound like an English Z, that soft sound. It's a much sharper, shorter sound. It goes tss, tss. You kind of have to put your tongue behind your teeth. Tss, tss, tss. Imagine there's a T in front of the Z. Tss, tss, tss. And I think we're going to think about a duck beak, because Francie is a duck, obviously. Think about a duck beak going and snapping at you, going. So it's a short sound. Tss, tss, tss. Maybe a snake going. Tss, tss, tss. But then you think about. So we want that snap, snap, snap. Everybody having a go at short, sharp sound. Everybody have a go at Francie, Francie, Francie. Well done. I'm sure those classrooms are getting very noisy now. Okay, let's have a look at that EU sound. We've had 2 words so far with the EU sound in it. And it's an oi sound. If you're very cross with somebody and you're shouting across the room, pointing at them, going, oi, oi, point at somebody and go, oi. It's very rude to point normally, but I'll allow it for this one. Oi. Well done. So now we're going to say, Freunde, Freunde, Deutschland, Deutschland. Well done. Getting those oi sounds in there. Now, the other one that often trips up the English speakers is definitely the IE and the EI in German. And actually, they're really easy once you've programmed it into your brain, because they never change. So if you've got an I and then an E, it's the second letter that's important. So IE says E. You kind of ignore the I at the beginning, and it says E. IE says E. And for future reference, EI says I. So it's the second letter that you need to notice. IE says E. And the way I try and remember that is it's a long pulling out sound, as if you're stretching somebody and it's kind of squeaking, person squeaking. So maybe we could be stretching Francie out and she's going, E, E, don't pull me to pieces. E, E. So stretch your E's. E, E. And then we have, let's see if we can get all of our sounds in here. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. It's quite tricky. We've got another one to put in there as well. And then you've got V gates. V gates. Well done, everybody, for practicing those. I hope these are going in. Right, then we've got this strange letter combination of the E and the H together. We've had that in quite a few words already. And it's a kind of slightly puzzled sound, as if you're going, eh, eh. We're kind of grinning a bit as well. So going, eh, big wide mouths, eh, eh. Scratch your head. You're not really sure what's going on. Eh, eh. So we've got Auf Wiedersehen, wie geht's, es geht, and sehr gut. So let's try those. Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. Wie geht's? Wie geht's? Es geht. Es geht. Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Well done. You're doing brilliantly, everybody. So the E on its own is an E, like in egg. It's a very simple sound, but the thing that I find that the children in my classes struggle with is remembering to actually say it. Because when we have an E on the end of a word in English, it's usually silent. In German, it isn't. You actually need to hear it. You actually need to hear that letter. It's really important you hear that letter at the end of the word. So when we were talking about our friends, we said Freunde. So if we think about an egg, just a solid sound like that, that's my fist is my egg. So that's my E sound. So I've got Freunde, Freunde at the end there. So let's get that E. Freunde. Try that. Freunde. And then for thanks, we've got danke. Danke. And then we had ich habe. Ich habe. Ich habe. And then in the last bit, eine Postkarte, we've got it twice. Eine Postkarte. Eine Postkarte. Well done, everybody. And it just sounds odd if you just leave that sound off at the end of the word. So it's really important you get that fist in place. And remember, we're going to have that E. It's really important. And then we've got the SCH, which in English is more of a sk sound, but in German is a sh. So it's like an SH in English. Sh. Schau. When we're spotting things, we can say sh. Sh. Schau. Everybody say schau. Schau. Well done. And if we want to say bye, it's a tricky one because you've got the T first and then the SCH. Tschüss. Tschüss. And then it's in the middle of Deutschland, isn't it? So you've got Deutschland. Deutschland. And then finally, we've got this U with the two dots on top. They're called umlauts. And the three vowels in German sometimes use umlauts, the U, the A and the O, and it changes the sound. So whereas we have the U without umlauts, which is more of an U sound, like wunderbar, in tschüss with the umlauts on, it's a bit more surprised. So we try and think of our hands as the umlauts, the two dots, and we're putting them up in surprise. We're going tschüss, tschüss. So we've got that sound. Everybody say and that reminds us there are two dots on there and it's making the U sound surprised. So everybody say tschüss, tschüss, tschüss. Okay, now that's a lot to take in all in one go. So let's see how well you're doing. Let's move on to the next slide. Can you say that sound and do the action? Everybody, go. Well done. It should be shh, shh. Next one. Everyone say that one. Yes, that should be ow, shouldn't it? Ow. Well done. Next. Yes, well done if you've got the eh. Well done. Next. Yeah, well done. Bit more puzzled if you've got the A. You're a bit surprised, but not sure. A. Well done. Next. Well done if you've got the think about those swans taking off. Next. Yes, you want your surprised hands, don't you? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Excellent. Next. Well done. Remember, it's a really short sound, not a long sound. You're not going zzz, it's tss, tss, tss. Make it short. Okay. Oi, yes, well done. Oi, oi. I can see some ois happening on my screen. Thank you. Oh, there's some thinking happening. We're making that long squeaky sound. E, E, E. Well done. Brilliant. Keep practicing those and you'll get really good at them. So now we're going to have a bit of a dance, a bit of a movement. So very quietly, everybody needs to stand behind their chairs ideally, but you're just staying in one spot. You're not going anywhere else. So just standing behind your chairs, please. And then we'll let Naomi on the screen take over.
Hello Super Movers, how you doing today? We've got some German greetings that are coming your way. You can say them when you meet up, say them on the phone. You can practice them together or even on your own. Hallo, hello. Wie geht's? How are you? Danke, thank you. Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Oh, oh. Hallo, 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 wie geht's? Oh, oh. Wunderbar, auf Wiedersehen. Oh, oh. Hallo, 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 wie geht's? Oh, oh. Are you ready for some more? Here we go. Guten Morgen, good morning, guten Tag, good afternoon, guten Abend, good evening, gute Nacht, good night, guten Morgen, good morning, guten Tag, good afternoon, guten Abend, good evening, gute Nacht, good night. Oh, oh. Hallo, 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 wie geht's? Oh, oh. Wunderbar, auf Wiedersehen. Wie geht's? So this means, how are you in German? Wie geht's? So we could say anything from awful to wonderful. Try it. Wie geht's? Schlecht. Awful. Wie geht's? Nicht so gut. Not so good. Wie geht's? Es geht. So. Wie geht's? Gut. Good. Wie geht's? Sehr gut. Very good. Wie geht's? Wunderbar. Wonderful. Oh, oh. Hallo, 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 wie geht's? Oh, oh. Gut, danke. Auf Wiedersehen.